Ira Thor here during NCAA Division III Week 2020 as we bring you one of our alumni conversations. And today we talk with former men's basketball great Alex Mirabel, now the head coach at St. Peter's Prep in Jersey City. He had a magical year this year, and it all started here at NJCU. Alex, welcome to our alumni conversation. First of all, how are you and your family during the pandemic that we are currently experiencing?
Thank you. I really appreciate you doing this interview with me. Everything is good so far here with my family. We're just home, staying home, and spending a lot of quality time together and making the best out of the situation.
I want to take you back in time to when you were on the court with us, played for the Gothic Knights from 2002 through 2007. You missed a year with an injury, or had a year cut short with an injury. What are your fondest memories from your time as a Gothic Knight?
I mean, my times, being a Gothic Knight, brings some great memories with the guys. I came in at a great time. As a freshman, I became a starter, and that was very rare for a freshman point guard to be a starter for Coach Brown, and him being a coach that has a lot of high expectations for his point guards was not very easy for me to transition from high school to college. But I think one of the things that Coach Brown did, he invested his time with me my first year, and after that, it was more comfortable for me to run the one. I got more comfortable with the guys. I mean, I played with some great basketball players, from George Thomas, 1,000-point scorer. I played with Samar Battle, 1,000-point scorer. Mark Washington, 1,000-point scorer. Dana John, 1,000-point scorer. So I think they made my job a lot easier, and I'm grateful to have those guys play with me, and I'm grateful for all the great memories I had in NJCU.
I think they're grateful that they had you as their point guard, as you were one of the all-time leaders in assists in program history. Part of a team, before you got hurt, you were part of a team that was our last team to make the Sweet 16. They won the conference championship that year in 2004. There's your sophomore season. Take us back through that year, and while you weren't obviously there for the entire year due to getting hurt, what it was like to be on a team of that caliber.
I was a special team. I mean, you have Harold Williams, Samar Battle. You have Mark Washington, a young version of Mark. Me and him obviously came in together, and having Mark and Samar, Mark on one side, Samar on the other side, making a decision on who getting the ball was very easy for me. And we had some really great memories. That year, in my opinion, was probably like the best year that we've had as a program while I was at NJCU. Obviously we won the conference and went, to the Sweet 16. And obviously I couldn't finish the later part of the season due to a broken ankle. And then the year after that I had to sit down too. And I think that was it took a big toll on my body, being hurt and sitting out the year. And then, when I came back my junior year, it was an adjusting period for me, but that one year was very magical. It was really fun playing with those guys. And, now that we're older, I still getting, having contact with them. We talk about it all the time, and it's a good group. It was a good group of guys.
Now for you, your senior year, 2006-07, you culminated with second team all conference, playing with Dana John, who was a three-point machine that year.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like for you, and what did it mean to you to get that distinction your senior year as you were finishing up?
I think, one of the biggest things that I try to tell our guys at St. Peter's Prep, and, I also coach the Dominican national team, and, I do clinics, and I speak in a lot of events, is, players need to understand their role. As a freshman, I knew what my role was going to be from my freshman year to my senior year. And that was to, honesty, run the team and give the ball to the best players. Let them create, defend, and understand what Coach Brown wanted me to do. So my senior year, all the experience and all the players that I play with, I knew what my role was. And that was to, let A. Williams give the ball to A. Williams inside and make sure Dana get his shots and just defend and be another coach on the floor. And I think Coach Brown saw something in me as far as coaching. because he always used to let me kind of run the sets with the first unit, and he'll work with the second unit, third unit on the other side of the court. And he trusted me, doing that. And that's something that I really appreciate, because that has helped me now, in life and on the basketball court as well as a coach, to be able to implement, that type of role in my life at a young age was wonderful to me.
Before we get into your coaching career, and it's really been an exciting journey for you so far, but there's an interesting story about you as a youth player going to a clinic that Coach Brown Sr., that Charlie ran, and at that point you knew that you wanted to play for the Gothic Knights. Can you take us back to that part of your life?
Yeah, Jersey City always, the recreation department always works with, NJCU with doing clinics, and even now they'll do it. They'll take athletes around the county, and they bring them to NJCU. And that's when I first met Coach Brown. Was one of those clinics. I was like in seventh grade, and his mannerism, his style, his quote unquote swag. It was something that, it was an intimidating, but at the same time very confident man, and you kind of looked up to him. And one of the biggest things that happened through my youth was one of his former assistant coaches, Donald Copeland. He happened to be my AAU coach. So we used to practice at number 40 school, where he was a principal, and he used to walk around, and he had this presence of, being who he is. And from that, I kind of felt a really good connection. And I used to go to the games, with Coach Copeland, and I used to be in awe. Like, I was a kid watching these men play basketball. And I think it was something that was very, very, I was very fortunate. And rest in peace, Bumpy. He was a great supporter of the program, and used to bring me around too to the games when I was younger. And it kind of worked out.
Tell us how you got into coaching after you graduated in 2007-8.
Uh, After I finished playing basketball, I tried to play basketball overseas, and things didn't really work out. And then Mark Brown, offered me to be, an assistant coach. And I was very young, and I had the adrenaline to still play. And he saw something in me as far as, being a loyal guy and very respectful, and, understanding what basketball is about, which at that point, at that time, I knew nothing about basketball. I just knew, I was a good player, and I used to play with them like every day in practice. But he really taught me, he how to be professional, because he played overseas, and he really taught me how to talk to the kids, the student athletes, and how to manage the practice. And all it started once again, with Coach Copeland and Coach Brown. Those guys were so passionate on the court, and at that point, you didn't really understand why. But the biggest thing I learned from Coach Copeland and Coach Brown and Mark Brown was that, you as a man, you have to be extremely competitive at everything that you do, and it has to be on and off the court. And I always had that passion, but being at NJCU for those couple of years allowed me to like really experience what really coaching was about. And from then on, I haven't stopped. I've been coaching for 14 years now, so it has been some good summers for me, and nonstop basketball ever since.
So take us through your career path. After you coached with NJCU as an assistant, you went on to Dickinson. Tell us about the
hmm
journey from Dickinson to where you
Yeah,
are now.
obviously, I never wanted to leave NJCU, but financially, as an assistant coach, I'm young. I couldn't stay at NJCU because financially, it was not enough money for me. So I started subbing in the city, and that allowed me to be a coach. I think it's in high school, so I coached JV there for 2 years, and it's my alma mater. So I was very proud. It was a very proud moment for me to coach those guys, and then an opportunity. Just I saw Steph Wyatt's son, James Wyatt, Jersey City cop. He happened to walk by, and he said, "Hey, what are you doing now?" And at that point of my career, as far as coaching, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So he said, "I think it's an opening at St. Peter's Prep. Would you like to take it? I'll give you the head coach number." And I called the head coach, and he interviewed me. and then I started coaching at St. Peter's Prep, which, you know, it's a really good school, some really good basketball players and some great students. And ever since, I did 2 years there as an assistant, and then I've been there for 6 years as a head coach. And then, you know, being a head coach at NJCU, being the coaching experience from NJCU, Dickinson, and St. Peter's has allowed me to be a coach for the Dominican national team. So that's been, you know, very good for me. I was the head coach last year for the U-17. So it was, you know, it's really good experience.
What did it mean to you? And I definitely want to talk in a moment about the Dominican national team experience. But for you now, 6 years as head coach at St. Peter's Prep, you took over. You were still a fairly young coach.
Yes.
What was the reaction when you kind of took your first head coaching job of a pretty proud program, one with a lot of following?
Yeah, yeah. It was for me, it was like something I always wanted to do. I always wanted to be a head coach at the high school level. And once again, you know, I was an assistant for 2 years. I've never been a head coach ever. And I was very aggressive as far as me wanting to do this. I was very familiar with the students, with the school, with the athletic director, Rich Henderson, and his son. And I was determined to want to be a head coach at St. Peter's Prep. And I think he saw that fire in me, and he saw that I think I was fit for the job. Obviously, no experience. So to this day, you know, I'm looking at the situation like, you know, he believed in me, and I'm very thankful for that because I had no experience, and I was fired up, and I took my lumps early on, and it took a while to learn and really do things the right way and build the program up, especially high school, because you're in charge of freshman JV varsity. So there's very long days, very long summers, but I think it's worth it because I really love it.
So you've been in your 6 years there, a coach of the year by some organization for the 6 years, which is amazing. But this year,
Yeah.
you got the ultimate nod. You were named the Hudson County Coach of the Year by your peers.
hmm
What did that
hmm
mean to you at this point in your career to get such recognition from those that you coach against?
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, the funny thing, Ira, is that some of those guys, they were coaches while I was a player. And those guys have been coaching for 20, 25 years because they started fairly young. And, even Drew Morano from Union City, he was coaching at Union Hill when I was at Dickinson. So, so to have that accomplishment and have those guys, you know, vote me in as coach of the year, it's very meaningful to me because it means that I'm doing things the right way and they really respect me. And it took a while, for them to honor me, but they gave it to me, and I'm happy to have it, and it's good. It's good stuff.
And then with the Dominican national team, for you to get that opportunity to coach overseas a little bit,
Yeah,
what was that experience like, and how do you see yourself being involved in international basketball going forward?
yeah. That's a really, really good question, and something I wanted to speak about because it means everything to me to be, Dominican, and my mom, my family, and for me to be part of this federation has been a blessing. And I'm able to coach high major players. Lester Quinones, he's in Memphis. Alonso Frank, South Carolina. We currently have the number one U-17 player in the internationally, John Montero. And when you see those type of players, it really teaches you how to go about the business and how to approach them, how to coach them, how to do certain plays, how to, have meetings with the team. It really raised your coaching ability. And because of that experience, that has helped me as a man and as a high school coach here in New Jersey, big time.
And the last question, since this is Division III week, just want to talk about what being a Division III student athlete meant to you, the ability to compete at NJCU, how it changed your life.
I mean, it was a grind. I'm not gonna lie. It's not easy because obviously there's no scholarship available. And I've been around Division I programs, a lot of Division I programs, recruit my kids, and I go to games and I go to practice, and they give me a rundown of what it is to be a Division I basketball player. And it's different, big time, because obviously they have more money to do more things. So at the time being at NJCU, it was a grind. I had to catch 2 buses to get to NJCU. Even though I lived in Jersey City, um, going home late, doing homework, and obviously, uh, you know, the summer was very important for me to get better as a player. So a lot of time in the gym, a lot of time study halls and the libraries, and it was a grind, but it honestly it has made me who I am today because of that experience. I'm extremely thankful for it. And now, not that life is easier, but I know what to expect in other formats of life, the obstacles, the challenges in classes, waking up early after games, doing the homework right after a game, and being a student athlete really prepares you for life. And NJCU has always have a special place in my heart. I go a lot to the games now, and I'm very familiar with the players, and it's great when I go and see everybody because I really appreciate everybody, and I'm very thankful to be alumni from NJCU, and Tucker is doing a great job over there, and you always doing a good job, and so you guys are doing an excellent job, and I'm very proud of it.
We appreciate having you part of the Gotham Knight basketball family and the NJC family overall. That is Alex Mirabel, the 2020 Hudson County Coach of the Year, one of the great basketball point guards in NJCU history. And this has been an NCAA Division III week alumni conversation.
Thanks, Ira.